Well, empathy started with me as an individual. That was way back, even when I was still in high school. I was just operating as an individual. Even when I was at school, I could ask for my colleagues if they have old clothes they do not really use, if they have any shoes they do not really use. Take them to the village and give them to children. That's how I really started. Books. I was giving them pens whenever they were going back to school. I was even trying to afford uniforms where possible. Kids here do not have shoes. Like you find a kid at around 8 years when she has never owned a pair. I personally had my first shoes, my first pair of shoes, like these real shoes when I was about 6. So
it is always a blessing to give than to receive. Welcome to another inspiring episode of Podcast with SHEILA, the podcast that is spreading positivity around the world by sharing inspiring life experiences. Today's guest, KATINDA, is a Ugandan educator, tourism entrepreneur, and a philanthropist. He is the founder of Empathy Children Initiative, a charitable organization that helps vulnerable children access education and other basic needs. There are other things he does, but I believe all that will unfold in the course of this conversation. Hello, Henry, and welcome to Podcast with SHEILA.
Yes, hello. It's a pleasure being hosted on Podcast with SHEILA.
Okay, so let's talk about some highlights and landmarks of Uganda, a little bit of the culture, what the culture is like. Educate us some more, so that if somebody is listening and doesn't know about Uganda,
Uganda is a multicultural country. We have 56 tribes, and usually in Africa here, each tribe usually have their own cultures.
Okay.
But some reasons, other tribes, they have almost a similar culture. So cultures here, socially, a family is the smallest unit, and it is the smallest unit of the entire culture. In a family, the man is the overall. Actually, men here are more like dictators.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You see? So, ladies, to a large extent, they are not really taken as big people. Though, if you are really emerged up, and there's a lot of women emancipation, but still in the rural areas, ladies are taken as
properties.
Yeah, like a man goes to the home of the lady and they pay bride price. They are buying a lady to get married to a man, and then when that lady goes to a man, the lady is a property. And when they divorce, a man has the authority to go and claim what he took at the lady's home.
This happens more in the rural areas or in the cities of
in the rural areas.
Oh my God.
Yes. Yet rural areas cover around 80% of Uganda.
Okay.
Only urban and a bit of semi-urban.
Wow.
Cultures here, just like many African countries, children belong to a man. They do not belong to a lady. The lady is just there to give birth, and that's all. Another social aspect is that people are classified into 3 groups. We have the loyal group. That is mainly because many cultures here have kings. They are kind of a monarch.
Yeah.
The monarchy is kings. Have the intermediaries, and then we have the peasants. About education, that is one of the longest stories I've ever had here. Education in rural areas is extremely low. In my village, where I come from, in the past 10 years, I was the only graduate there.
How big is your village?
Yeah, like my whole village has around 2,000 people.
Oh, and all of the 2,000 is just one graduate from there.
I was a graduate in the past 10 years. Actually, almost 15 years, because the one who was there for the past 5 before this 10 was a diploma holder, and I was a degree holder for the past 10 years.
Oh my God!
And when you have to make research, the girls that have made it above senior four, I don't know how you can term senior four over there, but that last class when you are passing to high school. You may find that only around 2 girls have really made it through. Girls get married at the age of 15, some even 14, 16. Someone reaches at the age of 20, 24 with already 3 kids. The future is ruined. There is nothing to do, and somehow the whole society just looks at it as something normal. So that's about the culture.
But I like the thing you're doing. Now that you've spoken about education, let's go into what you actually do with Empathy Children Initiative. When did it start? I believe because of the background of the education system in your village, I'm thinking that was where you drew strength from to start Empathy. Let's talk about that journey. How did it start? Where is it going? What's it like?
Well, Empathy started with me as an individual. That was way back, even when I was still in high school. I was just operating as an individual. Even when I was at school, I could ask for my colleagues if they have old clothes they do not really use, if they have any shoes they do not really use. Take them to the village and give them to children. That's how I really started. Around 2020, when I was graduating from college, I went to the office and asked for permission to really start operating officially as a non-profit. They gave me a go-ahead and registered it as a full non-profit. That's when we really started on an official level. But I was doing charity from way back. I was giving children books. I was giving them pens whenever they were going back to school. I was even trying to afford uniforms where possible. Kids here do not have shoes. Like you find a kid at around 8 years when she has never owned a pair. I personally had my first pair of shoes, like these real shoes, when I was about 6. So kids do not have shoes, they do not have school bags, they do not have uniforms, but they really want to go to school, even when they can afford really going there. Sometimes they do not have amenities to use at school. So that's where I really drew my inspiration, my background, and what I grew up seeing in my area where I stay. I was like, no, let me really do this on a very large scale, so that a lot of children can really get from it. And currently, we have 35 children. I could really like the number to go to about 50, but we are limited with resources. Yeah.
My God, I'm touched by all of this, and to think that the world is moving forward. You know, this kind of stories, I used to hear them. It may not be too different from where I come from, Ghana. I'm originally from Ghana. I think in the hinterlands or in the villages, there'll be stories like this over there. But you tend to think that gradually we are getting things together, because when you look at the pace at which our cities are developing against our villages, the gap is really wide. You get it? The gap is really wide, such that children in the cities get all the education, get better food, good clothing and all of that, then those in the villages seem to have been left out. And I'm really touched by this, because if anybody who's listened to this podcast knows that I'm passionate about women and about children. So in a few minutes, I want you to put out there, if anybody happens to chance on this, which I know that people listen to the podcast a lot, and they think they can do a shoebox of things. It could be shoes, clothing, books, stationery, pens, pencil, anything. Please, I pray that it comes. Anybody who wants to do a donation will bring good clothing, not clothing that is meant for the bin. I know that usually people tend to put things like that together for donation, but we know it's still donation, but let it be something good, in good condition, that somebody can use. That is where the blessing is from. So I want you, Henry, in a few minutes, tell people exactly what you need to support these children. I believe that if we support the children, we are helping our generation. It may not just be Uganda, because the child could be in Uganda but may find himself somewhere else in the world doing something big. You can't tell somebody's future. But then if any of us is in the position to give a push to the good cause you are doing, I think we should be able to do it. So in a few minutes, just tell the kind of help you would need from anybody who is listening.
All right, just like any other child out there, who would like to have a good shoe on his or her feet, just like any other child there who could like to have a good clothes, like there who could like to have somewhere to sleep, like children sleep on, papyrus mats.
Oh, I've seen those mats.
Yes. So
they're like straw mats, isn't it? They are like straw. Is it straw?
Yes, some kind of straws, and then they make something angular.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So that's what many of them sleep. These kids need to sleep at least on a mattress, however cheap it is.
Yeah.
But when it's a mattress, some bed sheets. So we have, let me say, anything needed for a kid to grow up, to be happy, is what we need. We have 35 children and 6 are staying with us. The 6 have no trace of their background. We know about only 2 of the 6, of which 2 were staying with the grandma and elderly grandma of 87 years. And when we went to the grandma, she openly told us the mom died 4 years ago. The mom to the kids died 4 years ago. So we went to the authorities and we got the orders to be with these kids, and they are with us. They are part of the 6 that we are staying with. Then the other of the 6, we completely do not know their background. They were on the streets, loitering, doing nothing.
Really?
But now we thank God they are in school.
Well, you're doing a good job there, and you're doing a good job. And I know how charity is. You only need to have a good heart to be able to do a charitable work. It's not for everybody. To do a charitable work and do it well, charity is not for everybody. It's for somebody with a good heart, somebody who is dedicated to the cause and all of that. And it gets very difficult when you don't have help. So how many people do you work with? Is it just you, or you've got help? You've got people who come around to help you with the children, teach them, and stuff like that?
Yes, I have people. At first, we did not have where to stay, so I talked to my father, and he gave me 2 years. Two rooms on his backyard, and he said and told me, okay, you can be keeping here the children for some time as you really try to get where to stay. And I was so grateful for that. So they stay there, they cook for them, they play. At least you see some bit of improvement, not like before. So we really need anything good for a kid. Wow. Anything good for a kid. Yes, that's what we need. You talked about the clothes. Like a clothes, you may see that it's bad there. It can be helpful to a kid here. Like you with only three clothes, 3 like this, putting on 1, 2, 3, and again he recycles the same clothes.
What are the ages of the children? What are their ages?
The eldest child, the girl is 15.
And then the youngest is what?
The youngest is 3.
My God. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
the youngest is 3.
You have a GoFundMe account?
Yes, we have the GoFundMe account. It was opened for us by a friend in the US, and he said, "Let me help you with this." And she has tried to be helpful. Yeah, I share that link with you. The eldest girl, who is 15, we got her last year, and she was on a verge of being married off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, we delayed for like a week. I believe now she could be married to an old man in his 40s.
Oh, for some reason, I tend to think that this kind of thing has been wiped out. I didn't know it still goes on.
The things are there in the villages. They are there.
Oh my God.
They are there just because they go unreported. But they are there.
Wow. If at this point, if anybody is listening to us, please, we need your help. We need your help. I know from where I live, just me alone, I know I can get, a box full of shoes. So I'm going to see how to get it to you, and get some clothes as well to you as well. And if anybody's listening and they think they can, old clothes from your children in good condition, old shoes from your children in good condition, stationery, books, anything you can grab, please. We're going to be leaving some links, his address, his telephone number, everything beneath this recording, and we'll also put it in the messaging area, okay? So you can contact him and then send anything you need to send to him all over the world, wherever you are. All the time I say that it's always good to give than to receive, because anybody who gives is like on top, and the person who is receiving is at the bottom. So the giver is always a blessing. But don't forget that as you bless somebody, so you think that you're giving out, and then like water in a jar, as you pour from the top, you think that it's getting finished. You don't get finished. You never run out, because the more you give, the more it will be given unto you. So as you give to somebody, it comes back in different ways back to you. So don't be worried about the giving. Just give. I'm worried about space. If I had space, I would have asked people to bring it to my house, and they would do a big package to you. But I think we can discuss that with time. But in the meantime, if anybody can reach out to you on your GoFundMe account, do a donation, or do clothes, shoes, anything you can do for these children, please don't hesitate to do it, because I think he's doing a brilliant job. I've seen the pictures you posted on LinkedIn, and I had commented on it, because I'm passionate about charitable work. I am really passionate about it. But another thing I wanted to find out, where are some of them? So most of the children are with their mothers. What about their fathers? Where are they?
Many children actually with their guardians. Some guardians are mothers and they are single moms. In Africa here, there is a lot of polygamy, and sometimes you can have 8 wives, and for some reason she lives at 4 times. The man is dead, and the lady is a widow. And when a lady is widowed, the family of the man, in many cases, comes and picks whatever belongs to a man and land. They may leave the widow with the house only, where to stay with the children, with the kids. So majority of these ladies are single moms, vulnerable single moms, who cannot afford to educate their children. We have public schools here, and that's where our children go. But public schools here, we do cost sharing. Like the site of the parent or guardian pays for food, money for examinations, and these day-to-day needs of a child. The government pays for teachers, and that's all. But even that small money for examinations, some parents and guardians fail to really pay that money. And you find a kid has waited for 2 years, 3 years without school.
Oh my God.
And the guardian has nothing to do. He's also there. We really formulated a project proposal of how to empower these guardians, these single moms
Yeah.
in the community, teaching them skills,
Yeah.
teaching them tailoring, bakery, so that they can be able to start up something for themselves.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah.
Yes. And we as well talk to them to form saving and credit groups within, like, for example, 10 people per group. So through that saving and credit, we can give them some cash so that they can be able to get loans from that saving and credit. That loan, they can use that loan to start up something. Because people here really want to work. They really like agriculture so much. So when someone gets money from a saving and credit group, invest it in maybe agriculture, she can have something herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
She can develop, she can increase livelihood income. So that's also one of the projects we are really looking on. Another project is for teenage moms. We're also looking to empower teenage moms because we know sometimes many of them are still young to make a decision. They are perhaps influenced and they end up sleeping with a man and a child comes, then run off and she has nothing to do. You see? So we are also looking to empower such kind of people, to also teach them skills so that they can have something to do and also take others to school because some are really young, 16 years, can't really go back. 16, 17.
Some of these stories are really, really, really touchy. And I'll be excited to hear that somebody listened to Podcast with SHEILA and connected with you and is massively supporting you. Personally, I'll see if I can wrap up a few things and get them to you, but we'll talk more later how to get that to you. But I'll be excited to hear that more people will pour their hearts out towards your cause. But let's go on to your tourism project. So what is that about as well? That's your main job, is it, the tourism?
Yeah.
So what is it about? Let's talk about it. What is it called and how did it start?
It is called the Henjo African Safaris.
Okay.
I started Henjo African Safaris with a cousin sister of mine. She's doing tourism and she's about to graduate. We started in 2019 and in 2020 we closed for almost 2 years. We revived it 2022. Henjo African Safaris organizes vacations, adventures, honeymoons, people who could like to come to Uganda, Rwanda, and Kenya. So we organize vacations, safaris, study excursions, things like that. So we organize people who would like to really come to have tourism. Uganda has a lot of tourist attractions. We have rivers. We have the source of the longest river in the world, River Nile, originates from Uganda here. We have mountain gorillas. People who like to come and do gorilla trekking. Someone may come and wants to see cultures when he or she is interested in really seeing how do these people live.
Yeah.
Like what do they cherish? What do they like? Cultural studies. We also organize those tours. And basically everything in the world of adventure, rafting, bungee jumping, hiking, everything. That is my job. That's what I really do.
Wow, that's very impressive. So if you're listening to us and you'd like to take a holiday trip to Uganda, you can get in touch with Henry, and I believe he'll be able to help you out with all of these lovely tourist sites he's talking about, and and get to learn more about the culture in Uganda, in Kenya, and Rwanda as well. I'll be excited to visit Uganda if one day and I'll be excited to come and see the things you're doing out there. I'll be excited to help because I'm really touched by the stories of the children and all, but you cannot help it. The way our African culture is, when somebody knows or a man knows that he can only marry or have one woman and take care of that woman properly, yet will go out and have 2, 3, 4 because it's been offered to him. And in the end, I always say this, that sometimes when we make some of these decisions, we shouldn't take it because it's been offered to us. Think about the consequences, the children we are bringing out, because these children weren't asked to be born. I always say they weren't asked to be born, but out of bad decision, our selfishness, our greed, the things we think, there's one thing I hear all the time, and I get so angry, so I don't like to talk about topics like that, like the men who say, I'm a man, I can do this, and I can have more, 3, 4, 5. Yes, you can have more women at your disposal, but remember that as you're having them, children will be coming out. Unless you're protecting yourself, but as you're having them and children are coming out, be ready for the responsibility that come with it, because you're not going to have those children and then you're going to leave them there like that, to the mercies of the world. You have to take responsibility for that. So yes, of course, if you want to have 3, 4, 5, go ahead and have them, but know that as you're having the wives, the children are going to come, and don't leave them. And single mothers is becoming like the thing of the day. Too many single mothers, because too many men are not taking their responsibilities, and then they have the children. It's become a norm because they know that when they leave, the children will be taken care of. And in so many cases, women struggle to bring these children up and raise them properly. And then when the children are in better positions, the fathers go looking for them and the children forgive them. So it's become something like a pattern. So the men do it and then they go. The men do it and then they go. Too many children are being raised by single mothers now, which is not right, because children need to have both parents raising them. And I'm happy you're doing this for some of the children who can't have their fathers in their lives at the moment, but they need to be educated, they need to eat, they need to sleep, they need to be clothed. When they are not well, they need to be taken care of, they need to receive medication and all that. And it will only take people like you to help out when parents are checking their responsibilities, people like you to help out. And you can't do it all alone. That is why we are calling on anybody who is listening. If you can chip in, please chip in and help. You may be anywhere in the world, but as you listen to it, if you think you're capable to put in a thing or two, to put in $1, a pound, anything, do a shoebox package of whatever, books, whatever it is that you think would be beneficial in the growth of a child. And please reach out to Henry. We'll definitely be leaving all his links somewhere around this video, this recording, this episode. Just look for it and get in touch if you can, and help out. Henry, in wrapping up, what will your final message be to our listeners?
Before wrapping up, you asked me what we are really striving up in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are striving to build a children's center.
Great.
This children's center where we can be based and where all these children can access us.
Great.
A children's center where actually some can come for skilling, a center as well for skilling people. It can be a center where some children who completely have nowhere to stay can at least stay.
Yeah.
So that is one of our really big plans. We really envisage to get our own land where we can build a children's center. Land in Uganda is not so expensive. Okay, it can be expensive to Ugandan currency, but not to get to $1. $10,000, $8,000 can buy a very big
land. Oh wow!
Where we can start building our own place, because I'm operating in my father's backyard. And he told me, when you really feel like everything is fine, I have no problem with that. And he also sometimes helps.
Wow.
Yeah, he helps. Yeah, he helps with food. He helps with clothes sometimes when he is really able. And for that, we are very grateful. That is one of our long-term projects. And also the project of skilling teenage moms. And skilling single moms, where some of our kids come from. Some are orphans, staying with the mom. The moms are single moms as well as widows. So they are twice. They are single moms and single moms and widows. There are also a special category there. So we are looking at those two projects, having our own place and also skilling girls and women, and also taking back teenage moms to school.
Yeah. Wow, that's a big project. That's a massive project.
Another thing I want to forget earlier about is about sanitary pads.
Sanitary pads?
Every school term. Yeah, every school term we take sanitary pads to schools of vulnerable children in my community. I can tell you this, that a girl here can reach 17 years, 18, when she has never used a sanitary towel.
So what has she been using then?
They use some substitutes, some unhygienic substitutes. And they miss school for those entire days when they're in red. They'll miss school. They will not go. And then there's also another misconception that we have really tried to change the mindset. Like many people here, they think when a girl first undergoes menstruation, she's ready for marriage. They start looking for a man. Yeah, there and then. So we've at least fought that mindset so much. So for 2 years, and we've really fought that. We've brought in people to teach the community, and that is at least they have really there is some change. Then the pads, a pad here costs around $1.5 approximately. Let me say $1 for a basic pad. A basic $1 can buy a pad. So we take pads to girls. Actually, I even pinned that post on my LinkedIn where we went to schools and gave out pads to 8 good schools, 8 schools for vulnerable children, and we gave out pads to 50 children each. And some we are really saying, at least help me with that chance. But when the pads were very smaller than the number, they teach them how to use them because they really don't know. They can't afford them. They never used them. They try to teach them and we give them. So this time around, we want to have disposable sanitary pads that at least stay a bit longer. And that's also one of the projects we are looking at this school term to really help with the pads to children. That is something vital here. Something vital. Someone maybe there and think maybe people have pads or what, but I think people need to travel and see the other side of the world.
Yeah. The
other side of the world.
My God.
So that's also something I would really like your listeners to maybe to help us out. We can spend around $2,000 and buy around 800 pads, 800 pieces of pads, and at least 400 children can benefit from that.
Wow.
That's also one.
I think that everybody listening will be able to chip in, and I think your GoFundMe account will be the great place for them to do the donation. So we'll put that link out. But even if everybody who listens to this episode can buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, we are talking about sanitary parts, disposable ones that don't cost too much. These girls cannot afford to use them, and we are talking about hygiene here and health. So please, at this point, if you are listening in and you can support a neighbor, support a friend, support somebody, stretch your hand out to help somebody who is so much in need. We are talking about children, we are talking about teenage girls in this case in Uganda. And Henry has been spearheading this project for a very long time, and today he's here on Podcast with SHEILA asking that we support him channel this course, because there are a lot of the girls and the children who need help, but he can only do as much. So if you can, please reach out to him. At this point, Henry would like to say a massive thank you for coming on Podcast with SHEILA today.
Thank you so much for hosting me.
If you've been listening in, this is season 2, episode 65 of our podcast series, where we've been bringing seasoned guests with inspiring real life stories to share with us. Do not miss out on all these lovely experiences. Subscribe and be notified when a new episode is released. Whilst at it, please drop us a rating. We have a video presentation of this episode on our YouTube channel. Just search for Podcast with SHEILA on YouTube and you'll find us. Our prayer for you this week is that you will find what you are passionate about as you navigate through life, to enable you to live a fruitful, successful, and relaxed life. Don't forget to be a giver as well. Until we meet again, have a brilliant week.